New Garnier Men Acno Fight Gentle Cleanser. ये है gentle on skin, tough on pimples.
Bring on the semi-finals then, as we are all set for semi-final number 1 in the ICC Men's T20 World Cup. Serial semi-finalists, South Africa, red hot, probably favourites against New Zealand, who know more than any team what it's like to be at this stage of the tournament. What it's like to go past. Do they have the goods this time as the Eden Gardens readies itself once more? We have a good one built up for you on ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by Garnier Men. The stars have aligned in such a way that we get another day of the great Ian Bishop, who I welcome back. Bish, good evening.
Good evening to you, Raunak. Thank you very much. Hello, Faf. Great to see you again.
And I must say, Faf, dressed for the nightclub, as Bish is for church, perhaps. A lovely clash of cultures.
Oh, it's just bringing a bit of a balance. And you're sitting in the middle.
I'm wearing my
lovely color.
I'm wearing my maroon to stand with Bish.
Thank you.
As he called a wonderful game in a virtual quarter-final, but unfortunately the West Indies had to bow out. Bish is well beyond those years now where wins and losses with the West Indies affect him on a personal level. I wonder how you're feeling today, Faf, on the morning of a semi-final. Are you quietly confident, very confident, or perhaps slightly nervous?
Super excited.
Yes.
Very happy that I'm sitting behind the camera and not on the cricket field.
Would you rather to be there though? What's the
there.
difference?
No. That's. I mean, sitting here is great, but it's the what you love about that is it's the unknown, right? That's what makes sports such a thing, that why people want to buy teams around the world, because you cannot say who's going to win.
Right.
It's always not a flick of a coin, but obviously there's a unknown factor to it. So just being there and the occasion where those guys are right now, that's the best place to be.
How do you think, Bish, I know you watch a little bit of the show even when you're on your caravan with broadcast, how do you sense Faf du Plessis, the pundit, has gone towards the end of that first Super 8 game? You said, I think he'll be good over here. And I think, has he lived up to your expectations?
He definitely has. I got a couple of messages, a couple of WhatsApps, one phone call about how superb he has been, and people tune in because even, and coming from peers of his, I think that is the greatest testament. There's a couple of current guys who said, man, the breakdown there was superb. He's so lucid, he's on the money, he's on point all the time. Brilliant, absolutely outstanding. So as a debut, it's even better than that.
Thank you, Bish. I appreciate that.
I love it. It's so nice. I want all of us to let the moment, just take in the moment. It's been great fun.
But I love learning. That's a big thing about life as well. You know, you never finish article in anything, so it's just great for me to sit next to the big man and learn. I'll be pressing your button a lot more in the future.
I think that was one of the points from one of the more people that messaged me, one of the most respected people in the industry, and he said, and that's one of the things I said he walked into the studio, Faf, and he didn't walk in thinking that he knew everything about this whole gig, and he was asking questions left, right and center, and the guy said, that is the character of somebody who's great and wants to learn and has a growth mindset.
So we can go home. Let's wrap.
Let's go. This has been great. Thank you very much, Faf du Plessis and Ian Bishop. No, I'm not actually ending the show. Let's look ahead to the semi-final itself. How crucial is the toss? Did it play a big role in the last game at the Eden Gardens in what was a virtual quarter-final? For now, we know New Zealand have won the toss and they will bowl first. Now, Bish, you were at Kolkata not long ago, and is it fair to say that the toss does hold at least some form of advantage, if not a significant one?
I think it is advantageous, and particularly depending on the construct of your team, where I would argue that New Zealand's greater strength would be their batting depth. There was some due formation at the very back end of that chase for India as well. Not that they needed it, but it helped the ball slide on a little bit. So I think with the small boundary sizes and stuff, I know it's a semi-final and people say runs on the board, and I'm not forecasting the outcome, but it's no surprise to see that they've chosen to chase.
In a way, if we're all of the opinion that South Africa, certainly with the record they've had in this tournament, are favourites, does this make it perhaps an even more of an even contest?
I think so. I think if you're a a general fan, this is the kind of toss you would like to see. Because I almost feel like it's a 60-40 advantage in terms of the toss. Like it does give you, whether it's 10 or 20 runs, whatever that number is, it definitely helps you a little bit. So we saw that, I think in the previous game, DK mentioned post-match, he almost said it was like a 70-30 split because the ball got so wet towards the end. And it's really, really tough when the ball is wet because you just feel like every ball does exactly the same. So really important toss, but I still think South Africa do have enough to still compete in this match and hopefully go all the way.
Well, they perhaps have to start getting used to the tag of favourites, which is a conversation that Shukri Conrad had interesting things to say about, and it sets the stage perhaps just in the where these two teams stand in the view of fans and observers like yourselves in world cricket. Serial semi-finalists is what we call them. South Africa seem to be beaten and always bludgeoned with this whole, can they go all the way? Do they have the final touch? The C word.
What do you want to say? Just say
The
it.
C word, right?
Don't
New
hi-
Zealand make more semi-finals than South Africa, actually fail in more semi-finals than South Africa, and yet they don't necessarily
Never gets
attract
mentioned.
that kind of attention, negative or not. So I wonder why that is. If we have an open discussion here, South Africa, New Zealand, those emotions and history I'm sure are relevant in today's contest. Let me ask you first. Why do you think there's a difference?
That's a great question because I've been on the side where I've been asked a lot about being chokers. Like every press conference, every single press conference in a World Cup that you go to, not the semi-finals, not the finals, every single press conference, that question was brought up. And to the point where you feel like sport sometimes gets lost and won with teams playing well or other teams playing better than you. And you make one mistake and someone else on the day is the better team than you. Yes, you can get mistakes that is pressure mistakes. A ball goes up in the 19th over and you need 6 runs to win and you drop a guy and they win the game. That is something different. But a general me versus you on the night, I need 16 runs of the over, I don't get it. I haven't been good enough. I lose the game because of that. So I get frustrated with that because I'm like, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. And a lot of the times we were beaten by teams that were better on us in the night. And that same conversation never goes to, as you mentioned, our other teams who have just as a record like that. So it tells me it's always been this thing that has been a media frenzy and an opposition frenzy. The opposition know that so well. So they play on that game by game. If you come into bat, you guys are going to choke again today. It's coming. When is it coming? When is it coming? So it's been South Africa's, what do you call it when something is like your worst enemy? Because it's a tool for someone else to use against you.
Correct, because it also starts being real. It ceases to just be a figment of imagination. When it starts happening to different teams, and whether Shukri Conrad said something humorous to try and, I think, diffuse
But
it.
the thing is, whatever you say, there's no right answer to it because once again, I've been in the camps where we go on, let's talk about this choking thing.
Right.
And you delve into it deeply, and then you go to the World Cup and you don't win the World Cup. Then you're in a different camp where you go like, the chokers thing is nothing. It means nothing. We're going to ignore it. Every press conference we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to ignore it. Both camps, it doesn't mean you're going to win the trophy. So the end thing goal is when you, and I'll go through my 3 again, when you inform, you need a bit of luck and you don't need your injuries. So also sometimes you don't get luck, right? It's also luck rides that same wave where a catch gets dropped and you don't have the luck. So tonight we're in form. We're in form. We haven't got injuries. Now just give us a bit of luck.
Very heartfelt, dispassionate from Faf du Plessis.
Yes.
Now, same question to you, especially when we compare New Zealand and South Africa.
I'm not sure of the origin of the C word with South Africa, where it exactly started, but I've been privy to discussions around it, and Faf spoke there as someone who's discussed it a lot within the team. I think it's also a badge of honor for South Africa, and the reason I say that is they've always been such a talented team since their sort of re-emergence, right? And that's a great credit to them that they've put the world on notice for so long. And the reason that people don't say it about New Zealand is because when New Zealand have gotten to semi-finals and the odd final, it's perhaps they've punched above their weight all the time, and people didn't quite expect them to get there every time they've done it, and they've done it a while now. And the opposition that is always there at the other end of the semi-final or the final is always seen as better than them. So they're if they don't win, it was expected that they didn't win. So that's why they attract a different viewpoint than South Africa, who have had, I suppose, many of us superstars collectively of the game, whereas New Zealand will feel they haven't always had those superstars.
Good teams, yeah.
Yeah, good teams that punch above their weight. So they're seen
It's
as...
such a great perspective, that, because that's the thing that New Zealand has always played on. So New Zealand's mantra as a team has always been with underdogs. And there's no pressure on us. But yet, if you look at World Cups, they're not the underdogs. If you look at how many teams have made it to the semi-final consistently in ICC events, New Zealand is up there with Australia and India.
14th semi-final this in white ball events since
That's
2006.
incredible
the most
record.
By anybody, and a win-loss record of 6-7.
It's this thing where we all think New Zealand haven't got a great team, but they're excellent at knockout competitions.
They're excellent at making it to this knockout.
To the final.
Then
to
the final stretch is the challenge.
But when they've lost, though, let's be fair, though, when they've lost all of those, except the World Test Championship, I suppose, when they were there, they got a
we're
taste
looking white ball here
of conditions.
right?
Yeah. So, no, you're just talking principle. They've lost to teams that have had better. They've been better teams. To be fair, 6 million as a population, and often or almost always playing against populations that are multiple times size theirs.
One of those finals they didn't even lose, but then we had to split the difference with a boundary count. So there's that. But you need a little bit of luck, like you rightly say.
Another one was also boundary count, but it was just a boundary rope count, wasn't it?
Anyway, on that note, let me just wrap this South Africa New Zealand chat on what it'll possibly take tonight to be the difference. And we'll get into a more detailed chat about it, because I think Bish has made this point on air. The team with the strong bowling might very well be the difference maker in what we expect to be high scoring venues here in India. And that's where we go to a conversation around bowling. And perhaps that's one of the reasons why, Bish, we are looking at South Africa in the light that we are. Their bowling has been very, very good.
Yeah, their fast bowling in particular has been outstanding. And when I look at the constitution of what bowling attacks in recent times helps you to win a T20 World Cup or high-level franchise tournament, you're looking at teams that have a really good left-arm seamer. They might have a mystery spinner of some sort, wrist spin or finger spin mystery. In addition to other guys, you look at India winning with Jasprit Bumrah, who made a huge difference in that final at Kensington Oval, coming back.
Massive.
And they had Varun Chakrabarti. So New Zealand don't quite have that in their lineup, so it's a chance for them, without that constitution, having won the toss and chase to get to a final. And if they do manage to do it, they'll be doing it without one of those in their lineup, because I don't think Ish Sodhi is one that'll come in.
Yes, so let's go to the teams and then carry on this conversation, because there was absolutely no surprises in the South Africa team. We could predict them now. They've just hit such a sweet, settled balance. They made a few changes for the last Super 8 game against Zimbabwe, but all the big guns are back. Janssen's back, Rabada's back, Keshav Maharaj is back. That is just a formidable side. The top 6 or 7 on the left just picked themselves. So no surprises there. Let me go to the New Zealand team straight away, gentlemen. And now let's look at the one big call they've made. They've kept Cole McConkey in. So they're back from Sri Lanka to India. But McConkey stays. Sodhi goes out. Neesham is playing. So that's 2 outright seamers only. Neesham will have to be the 3rd seamer. Mitchell perhaps the 4th. And a lot of part-time bowling with the rest of those names there. Rachin, Glenn Phillips, etc. Now let's carry on the conversation on bowling. And if you look at that bowling lineup, if you're New Zealand, South Africa's batters will be thinking, we could take that down.
Yeah, we always say batters wins you matches, bowlers wins you competitions. Like the T20 World, like Bish is talking about there. There's a general trend on that. The best bowling attacks generally get to the final and win it. Yes, you might get a outburst one season where a West Indies batting lineup of 2016 and the powerhouse that they are, and they just blitz the opposition. But in general, when we are trying to put T20 teams together or look at successful teams, generally your best bowling attacks are the teams that are most successful. New Zealand, for me, in terms of that, they don't sit at that. They don't have the best bowling attack of the tournament. They, the top two would be India and South Africa, and they're there for a reason. Their batting has been good. It's got them. They played spin really well, so that's been, I think, their thing that got them to the final. But on tonight, on a ground like that, 2 frontline seamers. You're hoping your spinners is going to make an impact, and generally that ground doesn't really spin that much. So yeah, let's see.
So on this, I'm going to ask you both another question here. First, let me compare the two bowling lineups, because this is a fact that you can't change. South Africa's bowling lineup is terrific. They're number 2 as far as ranks go on wickets per innings. New Zealand are 8th. South Africa 3rd and 5th on average and strike rate for their bowling units respectively. New Zealand once again are number 8. And economy rate as well. South Africa have been miserly, more miserly than anybody else. New Zealand somewhere in the middle. Cannot change that. And you've made a call by leaving out a specialist wrist spinner in Sodhi for an all-rounder in Neesham. Does this simply go to, we don't have the personnel anyway that'll make a big difference? This perhaps gives us our best chance. Almost like what the West Indies thought the other night. We can leave out Brandon King, but we'll give ourselves 7 or 8 bowling options. Hopefully that'll do the job.
I don't think so, Rish. I mean, I think from my perspective is I look at their bowling attack and I go, well, Sodhi hasn't shot the lights out this tournament, so he doesn't scream pick me from a coach's perspective. The ground just didn't justify his selection. So I would look at their seam bowlers and I'll go, who is the best attack I can bring to the team today in terms of our bowling units?
So, sorry, but precisely on that, would you have gone Neesham, or would you have gone one of Jameson or Duffy?
Yeah, so because their batting lineup has worked okay. And what did Neesham comes in at 8 for them? What's his around that's after Santa, like roughly there. So yeah, definitely, I would look at how can I get my best bowling attack because our batting is working. How you look at it generally from the other side. Now, what I'm talking about, you look at your batting lineup and you go, is our batting unit in form? If they are in form, then we don't need a number 8 or 9. We back our top 6, top 7. When you're not in form as a group, then you look, how can we strengthen or lengthen our batting lineup to make it to 8 or 9?
I mean, McConkey's listed at 9, Neesham at 8 over there. And McConkey's already had a decent hit.
So they've there's a strong batting lineup, a long batting lineup. But the question I want to ask there is what is my bowling options? What is my resources with the ball to try and put pressure on South Africa and make them make mistakes?
Yeah, I mean, you know the options they have. They could have gone Duffy, who's been number 1 ranked bowler, or at least leading wicket taker in the last calendar year. They could have gone Jameson, who I think gives you a better chance at 4 overs if he gets it right than Jimmy Neesham.
And he can bat
as well.
And he can bat as well. So, look, I don't know what influenced that, but the good thing for them is that based on that team that they've picked with Neesham, that they're chasing, and that sort of, and again, we're not forecasting the outcome of this game. Faf is good. I'm not that good. But
I won't forecast anything. My heart is forecasting.
But again, that's a good enough reason to chase with Jimmy Neesham down the back end there. So that weakness that they've made up for in the bowling, because Jameson would have given you bounce and a little bit of swing at his very best. So it's not a surprise to see them chasing, and they're hoping that gives them that little equalizer.
So their selection is a little bit lucky that the toss has fallen their way.
I think so.
Okay. Just simple, if you were to make that call, would you have gone Neesham? Would you have gone specialist fast bowler? If you drop Sodhi, that's fine.
Yeah, I'm interested in why they want so many spin options there would be my question, because once again the venue is more favoured towards fast bowling. So the fact that they've gone with three spinners there is interesting. Neesham plays as an all-rounder, so you can see they've just gone, let's have 2 all-rounders in our team instead of the specialist bowlers.
Okay. On that note, why don't we focus on leadership, and let's focus on the New Zealand captain, who has said on the eve of the semi-final, it got a little bit hard to watch that Pakistan-Sri Lanka game. He had to leave the room and leave the boys to the rest of it. Thankfully, the result worked out in Mitchell Santner's favour. Let's talk a little bit about Mitchell Santner, who Faf du Plessis knows quite well. Of course, I think Santner must have learned a thing or two from you when you led him in the MLC. What we've seen of Santner, good poker face, isn't he? Until we saw that moment of emotion, whacking the stumps in the game against England when he knew he'd made a mistake in Glenn Phillips. Now he's got a second life. I wonder what that would make of Mitch Santner in the lead and what you've already made of.
Yeah, so fantastic human being. And I think when you look at leaders and their qualities and their strength, he is just an absolute champion human being. So people like that have already got following in terms of their leadership because they're just generally good people. So that's his first and most, I would say, strongest quality. The fact that he's such a relaxed guy is him on and off the field. He is like that the whole
The
time.
nickname is Flatline, I believe.
And that's a very, if you look at, I suppose there's learning in that for all of us, right? If we take it all the way back, you know, we all started at CSK together. So playing under someone like MS Dhoni, naturally if you're a young leader, you are trying to steal with your eyes and steal with your ears how to get better. So if you look at, I can speak from my own perspective, but being on the same field as him, you do see the value of what that looks like. That I'm not riding the emotions of the game in terms of my facial expressions because it puts pressure on the bowlers. They're already under bowlers, so your job as captain is how do you stay calm? And we certainly see that with him. And outside of the dressing room, like myself and him playing under someone like Stephen Fleming, as a coach is exactly the same. There's no highs and lows of kicking chairs when you lose a wicket. There's a very same pattern there. So I think early on in your leadership career, you do learn these kind of things, and then you mold your own personality to the style of captain that you would like to be. So he is naturally, authentically will bring that across because he is a calm guy, he is a chilled guy, loves his golf, good values, family man. So all of those things, he's just, if we spoke about New Zealand being the nice guys, right, the friendly team, he's just an epitome of that. He's just the face of that, really nice guy. And his calmness is certainly a strength as a leader.
Bish, if anything to add, otherwise we'll also just speak of the importance of his own primary skill set, which we can say is his bowling. He's among the most economical bowlers in all T20Is. South Africa actually have a pretty good record against him, and we've spoken of the Eden Gardens as a challenge for the left-arm spinner. Akil Hussain found it a little bit hard. Akshar got his overs away.
Akshar bowled nicely, yeah.
Santner tonight, and how big a role with the ball?
I think he's outstandingly important as the primary spinner. No disservice to McConkey. His ability, I suppose, to be able to hide the ball if he's bowling to the left-handers as much as bowling well against the right-handers, whether they're spin or not, his variations of pace, his ability with the bat as he showed in Sri Lanka, and as a fielder as well. So I think he is extremely, extremely important. Faf talks about cool when I look at him bowling in tough situations and I see the smarts and I see the guile and throwing it wide and throwing it straight. Outstanding. He'll need it tonight.
Make a point that since he's taken over in December 2024 as full-time captain, he's taken New Zealand to the final of the Champions Trophy, finished second to India, and now semi-final at the next ICC event. So it's going well for Mitch Santner. Let's have his work cut out though. South Africa are in top form with bat and ball. We're going to focus on a key player for them, the leading wicket taker in this tournament among the bowlers that are still alive in the tournament. That's Lungi Ngidi. He's our match-ready face with Ghanaian men Acne Fight Gentle Cleanser. He's been excellent, Ngidi. Really troubled India. Lots of pace off, lots of pace on. Slow balls that are making some batters almost look silly at times. And Shukri Conrad, the South African coach, called him a mystery seamer. I like it. He's starting to just add to the lexicon of our game. Mystery spinners and whatnot. Mystery seamer. Bish, ball's in front of you if you'd like to reach out for it. Because there is a Dwayne Bravo parallel that's now being said quite a bit. And if Ngidi's come close to mastering what Bravo did so successfully. What have you noticed about just the technical side of his slow ball?
Well, it's just the fact that, and Faf knows him from close proximity. We know Bravo from being a kid coming up where he was more of a batter who bowled occasionally and then the bowling took over. But Bravo's ability, you're bowling that way, to almost get his fingers over the ball and allow it to, the overspin to almost dip, is something you have to get your wrist in position. Lungi kind of comes off it just a little bit this way, but the fact that it dips on you and you know it's coming, but you still have to be able to go hard at it, and his control of it, whether it's to go full with it or to just drop it on a length, I think is, at least at the moment, because you get found out eventually and have to add to it years down the road. Bravo knew that as well. So look, it's masterful.
Does he have more than one slow ball? Is the one with the off-spin sort of release? Is there any other slow ball that we've picked up?
He's got a little leg cutter that he talked about as well.
Yeah, he doesn't bowl that as much. I mean, that's his banker. The hard part about that slow ball, as a batsman facing that, is, Bish talks about the dip. Him, Bravo, they all bowl it full, right? So it's not a ball into the pitch. He can bowl it obviously into the pitch, but his standard is to get it up there. So what you see as a batter is you almost feel like the ball is coming at your face or your eyes, and you think it's a beamer. You're reacting, and that initial instinct just makes your hands go a little bit ahead of you, and that's where it's so key, because once your hands gets ahead of you, you've won the battle already against the batsman. So when we're practicing against guys like him or preparing against guys like him, it's the ability to keep your hands back and not ahead of you. So whatever you're sitting back in the crease, running at him, but the last thing you can do is get your hands in front of your body and try and hit the ball on the ground, because that's when you get caught at middle.
But Guy, you have to go at him, right? Like Romario Shepherd, when he had that partnership with Jason Holder, there was an over there, he could barely get bat and ball apart for one, and it was like full, and he was out there and he knew it was coming, and by the time he gets there, it just drops under the bat and sneaks through. So you hope for Lungi's sake, though, that he hasn't or will not overdo it for the crucial period, but New Zealand would have been sitting and planning for this, so I'm curious to see what they come up with here.
And the way of that is because Lungi is not a 145 bowler, and you're talking about DJ, when guys eventually play you better is when they go, we are just going to set up for the slow ball. So your mind is already telling you, wait. Like that mind shift, isn't it? So because now you're saying, I'm waiting for the slow ball and I will react to the faster break. Whereas the trick is when you're still playing him like a guy that bowls 140 and you're looking to play him normally, and then but the ability to tell yourself this is going to be a slow ball gives you a better chance of scoring it. Yes, not 100% successful, right? But it just gives you a better chance. And yeah, you got.
No, please carry on.
And their batters then get an opportunity to counter him, because what you need to do is, if he can get his slow ball away, then he goes back to his other stuff. His slow ball is his strength, so you have to figure out a way to score off his slow ball.
So he's actually on that then. So he's actually got a decent return even on his pace on delivery. He's only going at 7.8. He's bowled 59% pace on, 41 pace off, and 7 and 5 wickets respectively. So he's pretty good with the pace on. I guess he's using it well.
What I would say about his pace on, and I think that's where we see Lungi's tournament being so successful, because Lungi's bowled his slow ball for the last 3-4 years. It's not like his slow ball has naturally got better or evolved into something else. He's been bowling that exact slow ball for a while now. What's got better is his wrist and his accuracy with his normal ball. His pace is back up, his fitness is strong. He's not bowling 2 or 3 or 4 overs then getting tired. So if Lungi is fit and he's got rhythm with his stock ball, now all of a sudden he's challenging with other areas of his game. And that's the improvement that I've seen from him. The normal balls, the stock ball, is so accurate.
I'd give him his flowers on that as well, because like against the West Indies, and there was moisture in the pitch, he went first couple of overs, seam up, used that well. So he has that in his bag, that if one thing isn't working, I can go to the other thing.
Okay. That point you make. Batters will have to find a way to score off his pace off ball. Economy of 5.6 says they have not figured out a way. One is keep your hands back. What else? What do you do?
As I said, you set up for a slow ball, so you literally think it's almost like an off-spinner bowling at you, and you'll react to the seam bowler.
You almost try and sweep him more?
No, I'm not that good, but Avi de Villiers would sweep him. But I'm saying is there's different methods for different guys. Running at someone that bowls a lot of slow balls is a good option. But the main thing is you have to tell yourself, this is going to be a slow ball, and I'm just going to react to the normal ball.
I thought sweep as well. I'm glad you said that.
It's a good option.
It depends on who you are. I'm not saying everybody sweep, but if you're a sweeper, that's my thing. I thought sweep as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going through that lineup and trying to imagine, what is Glenn Phillips likeliest to do? Is he trying to go square, left-handed? You got Rachin, you've got Allen and Seifert at the top, but anyway.
So Allen and Seifert will just stand still and try and hit him straight. That's their strength. So they've got good swings. The key with someone like Lungi against Allen is actually making sure that you've got a long on to protect that. So when you bowl that slow ball, there's protection for a guy that if he miscues it, he's out. Whereas if mid-on and mid-off is up, to guys like Seifert and Allen, who are very strong straight.
Mm-hmm.
You as a batter feel like a miss hit can still go over them for runs.
Yeah.
Whereas if the guy's back, it's tricky.
I can see Finn trying to go down the ground. Tim is the one that I would most likely think would try to go and try to sweep that. I think from what we've seen, he has that propensity. Whether he does it, I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, Finn laps well. So that once again, as lap, what makes lap tricky for a batter that laps is if a guy's got a good slow ball, instinctively you back away from the lap because you feel like I have to now generate
Pace
pace.
on it.
So Lungi, initially you don't set up as much with the lap because you're worried about that slow ball.
All right. Thrilling conversation. This for the second half. Very quickly, Faf and Bish, if you'd like one line on how New Zealand should tackle the highly informed South African captain, Aiden Markram, who's already got South Africa's innings underway. Smashed an 86 of 44, if we recall, in the group stage when these two teams met at New Zealand's home ground at Ahmedabad.
I would be tempted to use
South
Santner at Markram. I know he hasn't bowled much in the power play this World Cup, but I'd be going, what can I do differently to upset the way that he builds his innings? And that generally is a left-arm spinner early doors. Apart from that, he's been really good against the seamers. He takes the game on. So that would be the one area I would try. Whether they do that, I'm not sure they will, because they've been very structured in their approach of their power play bowling.
I just need a couple of really good fielders at mid-on and mid-off, because I know when Matt Henry bowls at length to me, he's going to prop up onto the front foot and try to slap it off the length. So I need two good fielders, a Faf to Plessis on either side at mid-off or mid-on.
New Zealand are brilliant in the field, so they have 11 of those.
Okay, on that cheerful note, Bish, last time I asked you for a prediction involving a South Africa game. You said win the toss, win the game. Is today's theory the same? Win the toss, win the game?
Have we gone that far ahead?
I'm just asking. I might see
No,
you
no,
only at
What's
the
the
end
score
of
is
the
the
game.
first?
No, it's the first innings. We can't move from first innings and then jump to the end result.
I can only take that from someone who might be there for the mid-inning
I'll
show.
text you.
Oh, he's clever, he's clever, he's clever.
Okay,
WhatsApp,
scores. First inning scores.
210.
Ooh, 200 plus for Faf du Plessis, South Africa, Ian Bishop.
Yeah, that's what I called. That's what I was hoping for when the West Indies played India on that very ground. They just fell short. So I think they do need 200, 205.
205, eh? Okay, very good.
Raunak Kapoor.
Raunak Kapoor says 190. I think we've got a game on, a proper game tonight. 190 for me. I'll low ball a little bit. You're probably going to get 240 now and then. Okay. Right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Faf, let's see where this game stands. Semi-final at half-time, Ian Bishop. I think I might see you once we do have a result in the semi-final. You are unwilling to give me a team, but I will live with that.
Keep your phone open at half.
I will live with that. Bish will be back. Don't worry, at some point later this evening. Faf isn't going anywhere, and we look forward to your company once South Africa's batting innings is done for analysis on ESPN Cricket for Timeout, powered by Ghanaian.
New Garnier Men Acnofite Gentle Cleanser. ये है gentle on skin,